welcome to another Motion Industries how-to video. My name is Tom Clark. I am your host, and on today's how-to, we're going to be telling you how to choose an SPX Power Team cylinder to help lift a heavy load. But of course, I'm going to need a special guest to help carry the load today, and that would be Rick Swansbro. He's Director of Channel Development for SPX Hydraulic Technologies. How you doing, Rick?
Good, Tom. Glad to be here.
It is good to have you here. I see all this great equipment sitting on my desk right here, and we're talking about lifting and hydraulics. Exactly what are we going to see today?
Yeah, let's. The first thing we need to keep in mind is Power Team pumps, cylinders, and accessories are used around the world. Okay. They are used in industries such as oil and gas, mining, power generation, aggregate, chemical. They're used anywhere where we have motions such as lifting, okay, pulling, pushing, spreading, torquing a bolt, or tensioning a bolt. You will find Power Team products used.
Well, let's talk about lifting first, because I know it does several different things. So what are we talking about when we're talking about hydraulic lifting?
Well, in order to do the right thing with hydraulic lifting, in order to apply the proper product, we have to pick the right cylinder to do the job. All right, so that's number one. We want to ask ourselves, for example, is it a horizontal application? Is it a vertical application? We have to choose it based on what we know, okay? So, and a cylinder itself is a ram. So keep in mind, it is a ram. So we're going to go ahead and introduce hydraulic pressure into the lower part of the cylinder. Okay. That will raise the cylinder. That will extend the cylinder. So that helps lift the load.
Let's just, now this is hypothetical. I don't want you to think that I've all of a sudden just run a counterfeit operation. But let's just say I've got 40,000 pounds of money. Because, I mean, I don't know what size cylinder. I mean, that looks like a small cylinder. That looks bigger. So if I've got like 40,000 pounds of money that I want to lift, there's probably a certain size cylinder for that, right?
Well, the first thing we need to understand is if it's 40,000 pounds of anything, what we need to do is convert that to tons. So we now know we have 20 tons that we need to lift. Okay. Now, we always want to have a little extra margin. So we add an additional 20% on top of the 20, which gives us 24 tons. Okay. And then we look on page 6 of the Power Team catalog and we say what cylinders are available. Right. We see the closest cylinder to 24 tons is 25 tons. Okay. So we can always go larger, but we can never go smaller.
Yeah, because you won't be able to lift. I mean, if you don't have enough, you cannot even lift the load.
You cannot lift, right, exactly.
I like that. Now, we've got two different types of cylinders here that you want to talk about. We'll start with this one right here. What kind of a cylinder is that?
Right. This is a single-acting cylinder. The reason it's a single-acting cylinder, meaning that we can hydraulically power it up, and then in order to retract the cylinder back down again, we use spring force, gravity, as well as the load to bring it back down. Now, we call it a single-acting cylinder because you will notice there's only one port on the cylinder.
Yeah, only one place for it to come in. So there's only one port
for the oil to come in and apply hydraulic pressure to the ram itself. Okay. So here is a cylinder with one moving part. We apply hydraulic pressure to the ram to allow it to lift the load. And then we allow load, the gravity, as well as spring force to bring it back down again.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, how does it get back down once you've got that single action in there? Right. But that's just, those are the forces that are just naturally going to take it down.
It's going to naturally take it back down if we aren't introducing hydraulic oil under pressure to keep it up, for example.
Okay, now we've got, I guess, a double over here?
Yes, this would be a double acting cylinder here. Okay. So with a double acting cylinder, you power up and then you also power down. So you can tell a double acting cylinder right away because we have two ports on here. All right. So we have oil in, we'll extend the cylinder. Oil in the top will retract the cylinder. So when we retract the cylinder, we can hydraulically power it down. We can also use gravity as well as the load.
So I've got my load lifted, but let's just say it's Friday, it's 5 o'clock, the henchmen are tired, they've been working all week, stacking the money, and the load is lifted up there because my cylinder, my 25-ton cylinder has lifted it up there. But it's 5 o'clock, they want to get out. They want to go enjoy the weekend, so I want to leave it hanging there until Monday morning at 8 o'clock when they come back in and it's time to get back to work again. Right. Have you got something that can just like keep that money up there in the air?
Whenever we are going to hold a load for any period of time, whether it's hours or minutes or days or whatever it is, we recommend a mechanical locking collar.
Oh.
So we can actually select a cylinder in the tonnage that we need, and we can specify the need for a locking collar, kind of like when you take two nuts and you tighten them against each other, okay, and they mechanically lock. It's the same principle. That way it can stay up for an extended period of time.
Thanks, Rick. I appreciate it. Good information.
Thanks, Tom.
Rick Swansboro. He is the Director of Channel Development for SPX, and now you know a lot about hydraulics and lifting, but let's just say you have a question. All you got to do is contact your nearest Motion Industries branch location, talk to your representative, and they'll be able to help you out. Now, when you're doing anything like this, make sure that you wear the proper PPE. So if you're working with the single or you're working with the double action, whatever it is, whatever the PPE calls for, make sure you wear the right stuff, because safety is priority number one. Job number two, look for other Motion Industries how-to videos with me, Tom Clark, as your host. You could probably find it on the MI YouTube channel. Hey, thanks for watching today.